Hi and welcome back to my channel. I am Koala and I am a shamanic practitioner, mainly within Nordic shamanism. This is my little nook in this end of the universe that we call YouTube. I also have another little nook in the end of the universe we call Patreon, so check that out if you feel like you wanna, and if you wanna support me over there, get some extra bonus content and a community chat, you're welcome to join me. So, why are we here? Well, we are here today to kick off a new series here on this channel, and this series is going to take us all the way through October, both here and on Patreon. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about this series, and I'm going to talk a little bit about why I wanted to make this series. I've been wanting to do it for a while, and the main thing is that mental health and illnesses and that sort of thing is viewed in a completely different way through a shamanic perspective than in conventional medicine. And I just want to preface this with saying that I would never ask anyone to stop going to their doctor or stop going to the psychiatrist or psychologist or therapist or anything like that, because I believe that everything has its purpose, and that if we can have the best of both or all worlds, that will be the best thing for everyone. So there's a time and a place for each medicine in your life and each medicine that you might need to seek out, even pharmaceutical medicines, even though from a shamanic perspective, at least I try not to take any medicines, not even painkillers, if I really don't have to. There are certain times in your life when you might need to. Like, I had surgery in March of this year, 2025, and before that I really prepared myself to do everything that the doctor told me, including taking antibiotics and pain meds and anti-inflammatories and stomach medicine and everything that I needed. And I welcomed that into my body, mind and soul, because I knew that that was the next stage of my healing process. But so I really made a point for myself to really welcome that and take that on, and it was hard to get through. I didn't like it at all, but you know, who does? So there is a time and a place. I would never ever say to anyone that, oh no, you shouldn't go to your doctor, you shouldn't go to the psychiatrist, you should do this instead. That's not why I'm here. That's not what I'm going to talk about in this series. Because I would never tell you not to go to your doctor. If you feel like you need your doctor, go to your doctor. If you feel like you need to go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, go to them. Just like if you break your leg, you might want to go to get it fixed and mended in a physical manner, and you might need like a physiotherapist afterwards to get yourself going. During that time, you might wanna also work on the spiritual healing, and that's why I'm here. So I'm gonna talk about mental health from a shamanic perspective in this series, and the reason is because I think that everyone should be able to have this in consideration, to take this into consideration, that there is a spiritual side to everything as well. And then when you have all of the perspectives, you can choose which one you wanna, which route you wanna go in a specific time. And I just feel like we shouldn't hide this part, and we should really consider this and not just look at everything as pieces that are disconnected from other pieces, because from the shamanic perspective, we look at things with a more holistic view. So we look at everything, how everything is connected, and this is true both for the inner work and the outer work, that everything is connected. Just as I see myself in other people and their healing journeys and their path and whatever they are going through reflects back to me, and I can see myself. I can also see other people in myself and my own struggles, and everything is connected. So this also applies to physical ailments and mental ailments, and when when you ache through when you have one ache, it's not isolated. So from a shamanic perspective, it's not isolated. That is where I want to go with this. So that is also why you might need to bring together different parts of healing, the physical healing together with the spiritual healing and that sort of thing when you heal something. But also when you heal physically, you need to go a little bit deeper, because otherwise the problem tends to come back and come back and come back, especially when we suppress. When we suppress everything and we say, that's not me, that's not who I am. Most often people feel like they have to identify with an issue, especially when it comes to mental health. So they might just struggle along in pain and just suppress everything from grief to joy to any kind of pain. They might suppress. You might suppress. I know I have suppressed a lot in my life. That's why I was an adult, way into my adulthood when I came out as trans, because I suppressed a lot of things because of how I grew up, but also the view of society around me, etc. So that's why I'm here, to talk about mental health from a shamanic perspective. So this means more holistically, and it means to look at things from the view of both body, mind and spirit. So in every episode on this topic, I'm gonna go into not only the mind, I'm gonna talk about how it affects the body as well. And so before I go into the different parts of this series that I'm gonna briefly talk about in this video, I'm gonna go a little bit more into what is a shamanic perspective on mental health. And as I said, it's a more holistic approach, it's a more body, mind, spirit approach. It's also the fact that we don't label mental illnesses in the same way that other might do, like conventional medicine in different ways, and psychology and psychiatry, because we look at it from where it comes from. Why is it here? Where does it stem from? What's the origin of this that this person is dealing with, and what's the purpose? What's the purpose of this? Because everything has a purpose and a place, and then we ask ourselves, when the purpose is fulfilled, how can we aid in the healing process after that? Most often, if a purpose is fulfilled, we either find that it's not a matter of mental illness, it was just a matter of the wrong time and place, and now that we've found the right time and place, the person is more at peace and more balanced. We might also find that when the purpose is fulfilled, that it's so much easier to heal, because we've gotten out so many things from knowing the purpose of it. And the purpose and the origin are two things that often go hand in hand, and oftentimes we can feel like, well, why would mental illness have a purpose? Well, if it originated in a way or in a situation where you needed to protect yourself from something, then that is the purpose of it, protection. That is also the origin of it. So a purpose doesn't necessarily mean that you're on this earth to be someone you're not, and to relay messages from the divine or from this and that. That's not what I mean. You might feel like that's your purpose because your mental illness tells you that it is, but it is a fine line between what is deemed as, there's a fine line between what is deemed as the healthy part and the unhealthy part, and this is what we want to avoid. And if someone has reached this stage, we want to bring them back to this side, so that they understand themselves and what happened to them and where it comes from, if it came from this life, a past life, or an ancestor, or wherever it may have originated from. So from a shamanic perspective, we don't see mental illness or any illness as necessarily chronic. That is a term that I despise. I really despise the term chronic, because that makes us think that there's nothing we can do about it. It's just a way of life, and it feels like a lazy perspective, not from the person that is in pain, but from the people that are put there to help that person. Instead of going to the root issue and finding the origin and the purpose and helping the person move forward, it's so easy to let the person just be and exist and make that some kind of equilibrium state that, okay, this is where we want this person, we want them on the line between healthy and unhealthy, because that we know how to keep the person there with pharmaceutical medication and all sort of things, maybe even therapy in different kind of ways. It's like a person, as an example, I can take like an alcoholic. The approach to alcoholism, as I know it anyway, from a conventional approach, is to help the person not drink, right? And to be content with that, to find peace in that, but also heal things that they did while they were drinking. But rarely I hear of people that have found the root cause, and even if they know that, okay, it runs in the family, then it's viewed as a more of an illness, and that's a good thing, that it isn't used to put judgment on the person, because it's an illness, so therefore it's not their fault, etc. And that's a great thing, but then what? Then what? The approach is most often just to help the person not drink and be content with that, but not heal wherever it came from. So yeah, I just don't like the word chronic, because I don't believe in chronic. I believe in things being more long term and taking longer to heal. And of course there are things that we are born with because we are put on this earth in this life for a purpose, and to fulfill that purpose, or to gain knowledge and insight, and to go through life lessons, we might need that to be true. And what I'm talking about there is mostly personality traits, but also like personality disorders, as we call them. We might be born into this life with a set of traits that make up a personality disorder, and that might not be something that you can heal in this life to get rid of, because if you were born without empathy, you might not be able to gain empathy, but you can certainly gain cognitive empathy and work on your skills if you want to be able to do that. So there are certain things that we might, have, because we are put on this earth to work with those aspects of ourselves. So, if a person is born without a leg or an arm, there are prostheses. Is that the English word for it? Like you can put on an arm from a different material, and you can work with that and help work with it. It will probably never be the same, but I don't know, because I have all my limbs, so I don't know how that feels. But that might be something that you need to work with and move forward with, just as if you were to be lacking in something in your mental department, you might one life lesson might be to overcome that in a way that you work with it and accept it, and you heal it in that way. So, but I'm going to talk more about this in other parts of this series. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about each part in this series, and I'm also gonna mention some things that I'm gonna touch upon but not necessarily go deeper into, and one subject that I'm gonna go deeper into on Patreon. That would pass. So when that pops up in this series, if you want to know more, you have to go to my Patreon page to view that video. So this is the first part of the series. This is like an orientation video where I have talked a little bit about mental illness from or mental health from a shamanic perspective, and I'm gonna talk about the different parts in this series. So this is an orientation video, we can call it, like orientation day in school. And so in October, you know, on top of this video, there are going to be 3 more separate parts here on YouTube on this subject, and all of the subjects are going to be in both Swedish and English. So this is the English orientation video, and a few days ago I posted the Swedish orientation video. So each part is gonna be you know, duplicated so that it's available in both languages with the same topics and the same keywords, but I talk freely, so one video might be longer, one shorter. That doesn't mean that there's different content. It simply means that I might have it might be easier for me to talk in Swedish than in English, and I might find more words in Swedish to describe something that I describe in English as well, but maybe not as roundabout, you know, or as deeply. But I definitely, I'm going to talk about the same subjects, so don't you worry. And if you have any questions about anything, you can put those questions in the comment section. And if you are a member of my Patreon, you can ask questions in the community chat. So yeah, so a perk of being a member on Patreon is that you can ask more personal questions that I can answer over there, so you don't have to put them in the comment section over here. So yeah, so in the next episode on this, in October, on this subject, I'm gonna go into past lives. So that's the first thing we're gonna dive deeper into in this series. And with past lives, I'm gonna talk about what we bring with us from past lives that might have an impact on our mental health, and how I view that to kind of work, how we bring things from one life to another, and how that works. So yeah, I'm gonna go into past lives in this connection to this in that video, because I have talked about past lives and past lives regressions in other videos, and I will in the future, but this is related to mental health. And then in the third part in this series, we're gonna go into generational stuff, so generational traumas, generational curses, and that sort of thing. And I'm gonna mention the concept of demons or entities, and you know, how that relates to it all. And when it comes to curses or hexes, I'm gonna talk more about that on my Patreon. I'm gonna the video for all members, even non-paying members, this month is a video on that topic. So if you want to know more about curses and hexes and my view on that, you have to go to my Patreon to watch that. So yeah, and then in part 4, I'm gonna go into traumas in this life and how that affects our mental health. So yeah, and where trauma is stored and how to deal with that and that sort of thing. So in this series we're going to talk about past lives, we're going to talk about generational traumas and curses and everything generational, and then we're going to talk about this life. So I hope I cover everything with those. And other things that I'm gonna touch upon when I talk about those 3 subjects is, like I said, curses or hexes or that kind of thing. Also demons and entities and that sort of thing. And I'm also gonna talk about psychosis and being kind of lost between worlds. And then for paying members on Patreon, I'm gonna post a video about our nervous system and how to work with that and how to calm that. I'm gonna talk both about jaguar healing in Kiro medicine, and I'm gonna talk about the Swedish counterpart, and I'm gonna share a short meditation to calm your nervous system. So that's for paying members on my Patreon. So yeah, and that might be 2 videos where the meditation is singled out in one video. I think that's it, guys. I think that's what I'm going to talk about in this series. If there's anything missing, I have to tell you that when you're watching this, all of the videos have been filmed and it is in the editing stage. So there might be something I can add on in any video if I haven't edited it yet. But there might also be room for me to make an additional video at one point in the future about that. But I will also ask any questions that in the comment section. However, be nice in the comment section, don't judge anyone, and don't judge any illness or anything like that. So, welcome to October. Let's get this party started, I was gonna say. And why am I doing this before I go? Well, I'm doing this because it's Mental Health Awareness Month this month, and I want to share this perspective this month. So yeah, with that said, walk in beauty, walk with your shadows as well as your light, and I will see you in the next video. Xingling.